Greetings, everybody. This is Serpentine451 here, and welcome to another episode of Weeb Warriors. Sorry for... This is Serpentine451 here. There is another me going off here for a quick second. Sorry, my apologies. As I was about to say here, I'm sorry for the weeks of media silence when it comes to recent episodes, and you might be asking, why am I posting an episode on a Wednesday instead of the usual Mondays? Well, let's be honest here. Me and Jordan are only human, and we have other obligations to take care of, like Jordan did last Monday. But this past Monday, I fell asleep. And when you're trying to watch a whole bunch of anime, just for the sake of reviewing them week to week, sometimes it can be a real daunting task. However, here I am on a Wednesday. I was initially going to do it yesterday, but I had a bit of a throwing up spell. Yeah, that's one of the other horrible things about reality. Things just tend to happen so immensely that you just have to suffer. And that's what I had to deal with for the longest time. Just pure, unadulterated suffering. But anyway, enough of life outside of YouTube. Let's get to YouTube here in general, with the reviews for this week in particular. I'm going to start with That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, so it's going to be the more recent episodes with the fight with Calibris, I think is what it's called, the big flying battleship dragon thing, which Rimuru and the clan defeated with little to no difficulty whatsoever, and pilfered the thing to make better equipment in one of the later episodes. And the episodes I primarily want to focus on are the episodes that focus on Shizu's students, where Rimuru got the chance to actually train them. In one episode, he actually is introduced to the children, or knows of their existence because they're similar to Shizu. That's because they were summoned to the world instead of reincarnating into the world. So they have a shorter life expectancy compared to those that were reincarnated. And Rimuru, in the most recent episode, and I forgot which one that was in the grand scheme of things, but when he actually trains with the students, he makes them look like complete and utter fools. And at the end of that episode in particular, he gets to fight a sky dragon, which even that had little to no difficulties for him. And also in that same episode, he gets information in order to save these kids to prolong their lives. He needs spirits to dwell within them. And thanks to a merchant that he saved, coincidentally, from Sky Dragon, this individual is going to be helping trade with the Jura Tempest Federation with trading their goods. And on top of that, one of the hostesses at the restaurant sort of thing that Rimuru did his negotiations with the merchant, she knows of where the dwelling of the spirits are, because the village she grew up in is connected to it. Which, all in all, everything is progressing very interestingly, and I cannot wait to see where the show takes us further, and I'm looking forward to it. And the next thing I want to talk about is Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, and these episodes in particular that I want to talk about are primarily focused on Reagan. And one episode primarily focuses him kind of going at sort of this life actualization, where he gains a bit of popularity in the world of psychics, yet he is then treated to actually be participating in a exorcism showcase with the head of one of the psychic unions in town, well, in the town over. But it also shows that there was a fight between Mob and Reagan that led to them a small schism between the two. And then the most recent, well, not the one that just came out on this Monday, but the Monday before that, where he is outed as a fraud of a psychic. He is treated poorly in the media to the point where he has to take a press conference. And within this press conference, he basically is shown he's being treated horribly. And with the massive emotions that kind of were built up in this situation, causes all the equipment to lift up and terrify these poor individuals, which kind of gets them off his back. And we explore a lot of Reagan's inner turmoil, where after he initially did some small tasks 4 years ago, when he became a psychic for hire, and when he met Shigo, he ended up wanting to inspire a young kid to actually be a good person. And even though Mob, or Shigo, knew that his master wasn't a psychic, he basically acknowledged the fact that Regan, in his heart of hearts, is a good person. And he wouldn't inevitably try to scam people, even though he is a con man. Even though he's outed as a con man, everyone knows that he's a con man, he's still a good person at heart. And I really like these episodes. My apologies there. And so I cannot wait for the show to continue. Next up, I want to talk about the Raising the Shield Hero. And these episodes primarily focus on Philo with her introduction and the race between our boy Naomi and the Spear Hero, which that was satisfying to see him get kicked in the nuts by Philo, and then Philo basically turning into her human form, which causes more shenaniganery. And this all leads to different situations that the different heroes kind of created for themselves, where the Spear Hero, his name escapes me at the moment, inevitably created damages to one town, and then in the next episode, because this happens in the manga, which I will spoil this a little bit for you because it's forthcoming, where the Sword Hero inevitably created a plague-like situation with a dragon corpse. So Naofumi is basically going to clean up the messes of these the other heroes. And I really enjoy how Naofumi really wants to get the job done in all of these situations, because that's essentially what he has to go through every day in this world that pretty much treats him like garbage. So I can't wait for these episodes to kind of pass by. But this also goes for the shows that we're reviewing also. But these are really great shows with really good episodes. And this has been one of my more favorite seasons in spanning our reviews, simply because all these shows are enjoyable in their own way. Plus, speaking of shows that I can find really enjoyable, is Magical Girl Spec Ops Asuka. This show is great. So the episodes that we have to sift through, we meet Magical Girl Barber, where she fights Kurumi and then Asuka, which then Barber gets saved by the Queen, which leads to these other episodes, which the episode between the two was kind of like a more sublime and kind of serene episode where they go to the Tatabana Festival, which that was also very spectacular. And on top of that, we have Asuka joining M Squad, and then the most recent episode for our review cycle shows a fight between a magical girl that uses fire as her element with a Russian mob, with an organization that's connected to the Russian mob. And Asuka and Kurumi basically taking care of these individuals. And then we also see Tamara, who is one of the Magical Five that is a member of the Russian government, because we actually get a picture of Moscow, and which I'm guessing is the leader of Russia in this world, is basically telling Tamara, go stop the mob, but don't expose yourself to Japan, to the Japanese government whatsoever. And she's like, okay, I can do that. So when she inevitably tracks down the head of the mob that was sent to Japan and exploring this Terran reality, which was used in the Great Magical War, he used an item to basically transform himself into a monster, and he inevitably dies at the hand of Tamara, and in an attempt to kill her, basically killed himself. But everything's all well and good. The show is really fun. I know I'm going rapid fire, and I would think with Doran here we can get more interaction and more enjoyment out of this, but it's more of a spitfire way of me going about things on my own here. And this is all from my memory, so I hope that you guys can understand, and I apologize. However, on to the next show. Let's go with Date of Life Season 3. This finally ends the Natsumi arc, and this leads to an arc that basically centers around saving Origami from herself and her inevitability and actuality of becoming a spirit using Menatron. And this, in the fight between her and Toka, was spectacular. I really love this. And with the next episode, this is going to be the reintroduction of Kurumi. And those who are fans of the series, Kurumi is one of the most crazy characters in this series. I cannot wait to actually see her come back for another time. This is going to be good. And with her connecting to Origami, this would also be very interesting. So, with that, let's go to the next show. And I believe that would be The Promised Neverland. So, essentially, what you guys need to know in these episodes, Ray is the traitor, but he's more of a double agent working with Norman and Emma to get information from Mom, which then Ray can spread misinformation to Mom. But Sister Crone finds out of their plans, which leads to Dawn and Gilda. Well, Dawn and Gilda initially know more of the truth after exploring Mom's chambers and seeing a bit of trinkets from those who lived on the farm, as I will call it for now, in the past, especially Connie, because of Little Bunny. And then you have Sister Crone basically knowing the fact that, hey, Emma and Norman know more than they let on, but I can pass on more information, which leads to a cliffhanger in the most recent episode that I saw, where Sister Crone actually got a piece of paper, and the look on her face kind of shows that she's going to be shipped off the farm due to her own machinations, I should say. And that's probably due to Ray giving Mom a little bit more information on what Sister Crone's trying to do. Which, that's a bit underhanded, but hey, that's what Ray does, from what I could see. But the exploration of the characters and all of this leads to this series being very interesting and very enjoyable. So, what's next on the queue? I need to remember these things off the top of my head. Geez, I am a dingus of a human being, folks. Oh, wait. Let's see here. Alrighty. Oh, yeah. The last one, Kaguya-sama Love is War. These episodes, we are introduced to the treasurer of the student council and his pure resentment for those with couples, because he gets sad at the fact that, well, mostly in episode 7, and I remember episode 7 because I watched it twice, because I found this episode funny, but in particular, all the past episodes are usually in the tone of the series, which is these one-and-done little short stories. But with episode 7, since it's the freshest on my mind, I'm going to talk about those primarily. With episode 7, it's going to be a lot of... With this episode, the first vignette is Miyuki trying to conscript the poor fool, as I will call him, into joining a part-time job with him over the summer so he can actually help, well, the poor fool, as I will, wants to hold hands with his girlfriend. So Miyuki, in a way to kind of help him, says, "Hey, want to help me with a part-time job?" And then with Fujima basically saying, "You don't need to do all this shit. You need to do your best." And then we have Inugami, who is the treasurer, basically saying that he hates that clubs are a pain, and he wants to cut the funds and propose a tax on couples because of a flashback that he has where a sports guy basically doesn't want to do fun things with his girlfriend because he wants to focus primarily on doing soccer things, which that in itself is hilarious. And then we find out, those who actually read the manga, like myself, will know this, but Fujima, she is a member of the Tabletop Games Club, and then Kaguya is a member of the Japanese Archery Club. And this leads to Inugami basically insulting the both of them by their chest sizes. And it was great to see Fujima just beat the shit out of the poor boy with a newspaper, which thoroughly beats him senseless and terrifies him to the point where he's going to write his will, which is his essential gimmick, because he's terrified of Kaguya and Fujima, mostly Kaguya. That's kind of his gimmick, his thing. And then the last of the vignettes that I can recall, which is the funniest, and my buddy Jay, or as you guys will know, Mr. J's reviews, he says that he laughed like an 8-year-old. He thought he had the mindset of an 8-year-old because he loved this episode because it made him, he died of laughter. He's still alive, mind you. He's still alive, but he died of laughter. He was dying. Which is basically one big shenaniganery moment where Fujima wants to make Kaguya have wants to have an uproaring laughter. Wants to see Kaguya in uproaring laughter, that I should say. Proper English, Tony. Anyway. So basically, Kaguya has the basics of sex education with the mindset of a middle schooler. So, well, grade schooler. That's what it says in the episode, where the words booby and wiener make her laugh uncontrollably. And when Fujima finds this out, she uses it to such a degree it makes poor Kaguya laugh uncontrollably. And then trying to get Miyuki to say it instead of Fujima to get Kaguya to laugh in front of him was also quite hysterical. And then upon another great comical moment where Fujima wants Miyuki to say wiener, he says, "Oh my god, what's wrong with you girls? Are you perverts? Are you nymphos? Are you nymphomaniacs?" Oh, it was great. But these episodes in particular have been great, have been hilarious, as always. So I'll leave it there. But next up is the Otaku Soapbox discussion, which in the grand scheme of things, since it's just me, I can primarily focus on things that I can, since it's Jordan and I usually. The topic that I want to discuss with you guys is something more associated with kind of my taste. And it's also the taste of everyone else's as well. And I would like to really discuss the importance of music in a lot of different anime. Because music, even if it's outside of anime too, like if it's games, regular TV shows, hell, even in movies, music sets a particular tone. And I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, so to speak. But music, in the grand scheme of things, at least to me, really sets up the scene. And I really love it when openings are kind of bled through to the actual music of the show. The Promised Neverland uses a lot of more suspense tones and a lot of orchestral moments that are more subdued in more of a thriller situation. And Spec Ops Asuka has a lot of bombastic moments and a lot of great techno bits, which are very indicative of their openings, which the opening for The Promised Neverland Touch Off is very jazz-centered, and I find that very invigorating. And plus, a lot of the music in Mob Psycho is really good. But there are some bits of music that kind of miss the mark. And I really like some of it when they're used correctly, but incorrectly and ineffectively, it kind of ruins the scene. It kind of makes it less memorable, in my honest opinion. And I think the one show that exemplifies when it kind of uses music poorly, it's more of a stock footage sort of thing, using stock sounds, is, well, Camphor. It's a show that really bugs me to no end, and you would think, oh, Tony, you like curious stuff. Why does this bother you? The show, on principle, is pretty bad, but musically it is utter garbage, in my honest opinion. There is nothing salvageable in Camphor. And that's just me. But also, hopefully in the next topic will be something more substantial. So I want to bring this topic to you. If you guys have any suggestions for topics of discourse and discussion within Weeb Warriors, just let me know, let Jordan know. And you can just send those questions either on here on my YouTube channel. That would be Serpentine451, by the way, if you don't already know. And then you can also ask me those questions on Instagram if you feel so inclined to do so. But anyway, I think I will end things off here. This has been Serpentine451, and hopefully next week I can actually present things on schedule this time. But tune in for later tonight, when I'll be joined with my good friend Jeffrey in an episode of Manga Maniacs, which is something I know you guys have been looking forward to for the longest time. Catch you again then.